I'd like everybody to do me a favor, please. Close your eyes. Some of you are parents, some of you are not. For those of you who are parents, I want you to picture your children. For those of you who are not parents, think about what your children might be if you ever choose to have them. Are they a boy or a girl? Do they have brown hair or blonde hair? Do they have green eyes or blue eyes? Are they tall, short? Are they athletic? Are they intelligent? Are they healthy? Or are they not? I want you to imagine getting a phone call from a doctor that says, I need to tell you that your daughter or your son has cancer. I want you to imagine the fear that you feel, not knowing what's going to happen to your child. I want you to imagine worrying, how am I going to pay the mortgage when I know I have this huge medical bill coming to me? I want you to imagine, where am I going to get groceries since I had to quit my job so that I could be by my child's bedside? Now I want you to imagine a place that you take your child to, where you have a team of doctors that have raised the survival rate of cancer from 20% to 80%. I want you to imagine a place where your nurse has become part of your family. I want you to imagine a place that you know there is not going to be a bill at the end of this. That place exists. You can all open your eyes now. That place exists, and obviously it's called St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Fellow Toastmasters, Madam Toastmaster, and welcome guests. Tonight is my 10th speech. And over the last 9 speeches, you've heard me speak about things ranging from my relationships with my wife and my parents and God to how to line dance. You've heard me give speeches talking about us being debt-free and accomplishing this goal. You've heard me give a speech about us losing a child last year. But over and over and over again, you've heard me talk about St. Jude Children's Hospital. And I hope that by expressing that and knowing that I've spoken about this topic 4 times over the 10 speeches, you'll realize how passionate I am about this. And tonight I'd kind of like to express to you a little bit about why I am so passionate about St. Jude Children's Hospital. I work for a company called Destination XL, and we're a corporate sponsor for St. Jude. And I heard a story a couple of years ago. It was our first year that I would have been with the company for us to do the Thanksgiving campaign, something my company has done now for 10 years. And at the time, I just thought it was going to be something like you see at every gas station around Christmas, where you see a wall full of balloons, little paper feet, little paper shamrocks, whatever it is. And everybody's always asking, would you like to donate $1 to the Muscular Dystrophy Association? Or would you like to donate $1 to Dell Children's Hospital? But somebody told me a story that first year about a store in my company, I don't know where, and a family that had come in around Christmas time. Their daughter had cancer, and they'd been told that there was no hope. They had been told that you need to prepare for her funeral now. So they came into our store for the father to buy his suit to wear to his daughter's funeral. And while they were there, they saw the signage up that we had for St. Jude. And they asked the associate who was working, what is this? They had never heard of it. And because of seeing that signage, they took their daughter there and she lived. Now, I don't know that that's a true story, but God, I hope it is. So my motivation became, well, it's not just me asking for $1 every time, but what if the next person who walks in the door is here to buy a suit for their daughter's funeral? And I'd have an opportunity to tell them of a place where their daughter could go. That was a huge motivation for year 1, and my store ended up actually being 300% over our goal.
Yeah.
That's awesome, right?
Yeah.
So then came year 2. And I'd heard a little bit more about the hospital. I'd gotten a little bit of praise from my bosses. And so I decided I was going to work even harder. Year 2, we're over 300% over our goal, and we ended up being one of the top stores in the state of Texas.
Woo!
Then came year 3. We had lost a child that year. But because we had had the feelings and the emotions of parents, because we were so excited to become parents, I found another motivation. That motivation is in the exercise I just had you do. What would you do if your child had cancer? What would I do if my child had cancer? What would I do if one of my 12 nieces and nephews had cancer? And so my motivation became, now I need to know that this hospital is going to be there for me if I need it for my family. And I'm going to work even harder to make sure that that happens. We ended up being the number 2 store in the country.
Yeah.
And this close to number 1. $43. So then came year 4, this year. And now we have a baby on the way. And my motivation was reinforced again because of that. And I decided I'm going to work even harder. And now we're going to beat San Diego. I promise. But I found a new motivation. And it actually just happened 2 days ago. My wife and I were at church, and our pastor was giving a sermon about giving. And he was giving an example about him and his 2 sons. And the thing he was looking forward to in a couple of years was his oldest son, Jet, watching him write out his tithe check to the church and asking, Daddy, why do you do that? What are you giving to? And him giving an example that the majority of lessons for our children are caught and not taught. So I started thinking about that and going, we need the next generation to be more compassionate and more giving and more generous than this generation has been. The only way we're going to change the world is if that happens. So what can I do to make that happen? So I did that little exercise myself, and I started imagining something a little different. This coming Saturday, I'll be doing a 5K. What's that going to look like in 5 years? I imagine getting up that morning, getting up with my daughter and my wife, putting on our running shorts, putting on our little tennis shoes. I'm going to have to help her tie hers probably. Pinning a little piece of paper with a number on it to her chest. And going and joining hundreds of other people across the city of Austin and walking 3 miles. There we are walking. I've got her hand right here. Jennifer's on the other side holding her other hand. And she looks up at me and she says, Daddy, why are we doing this? Why are we walking right now? Because, baby, sometimes children like you get sick. And there's a place that those children go to make them feel better. And we're trying to help them. That's why we're walking today. That's why all these people are here walking with us. And she looks up at me and says, okay, Dad, I understand. So that's my motivation. I cannot wait for that moment when my daughter gets to learn how to be more generous and caring and giving and passionate than I have been. That's why I joined the fight. And tonight I ask which of you will be brave enough and selfless enough to join the fight with me. I'm Toastmasters.